when you hear the word wife and you know that he's talking about you? Do you like that? Yeah.
It feels great, but I can say make sure you have your own life before you're someone else's wife. And, and I mean that.
The role of a wife is extremely important. And if you decide to become one, you should decide what type of wife you want to be. And you and your future spouse and husband decide how you want to go about things before you actually make the commitment. It's important to have a life of your own and be whole before you get married. Two halves don't make a whole. In marriage, it should compose of two complete people, not anyone responsible for the other's happiness, because that is impossible. And that's what breaks up a lot of marriages, because people go in looking for something or half fulfilled, and they're looking for the other partner to provide something that they are lacking. Marriage is a partnership between two people agreeing to help, complement, and be an addition to the other person's life, not to complete something that's missing in them, because that's an impossible task. And unfortunately, a lot of spouses get completely burnt out trying to be everything that the other spouse needs, because no work was done, or they didn't realize that work needed to be done before you brought your lives together. Because people don't realize and understand that you're going to have triggers that may not have anything to even do with your spouse, things that should have been dealt with before you brought your lives together, because it's going to compound whatever you've been through when you have someone that triggers those things that has nothing to do with them. And then that's going to reflect on the marriage and your relationship. Women are taught to accommodate, unfortunately, sometimes to their own demise and their own destruction and self-destruction, because they don't have their own identity. They weren't whole before they got into the marriage, and they don't have their own life. They don't know what they like, what they want to do, especially for women that are getting married extremely young. I am not at all saying that there's anything wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In the society that we live in, we're living in a different time, though. People are getting married later for whatever reasons. People are getting married because of financial reasons, educational reasons. They want to delay having children, all of that good stuff. Or maybe you just can't find a suitable spouse. That's the case for a lot of people. But whatever the case may be, when you get married young and you don't know who you are, you're looking for yourself. You're going to be willing to accept whatever someone tells you are or you should be doing. And especially if you're getting married under the context or pretext of very heavy religion that teaches you what a woman should be doing and how she should be doing it. And a lot of women get lost in that and have gotten lost in that. It's starting to change, but a lot of women have gotten lost in that because they feel that whatever makes that man happy, makes her husband happy, that's what she should be doing. And her life is does not remain her own. It becomes enthralled and totally the purpose of being that man's helpmate and doing what it needs to be done to make him happy and make his life flow, without the consideration of her own life and the fact that if she doesn't take care of herself first, she's not going to be the best spouse she can be anyway. And Most High forbid that children get introduced extremely early in the marriage, before those people have a chance to get to know one another and work out all the kinks. And then you add the added dimension of a child or children to the mix, and that woman gets even further lost in the mix of all of that, being a mother, caretaker, homemaker, wife, doctor, nurse, confidant, all of those things. And being a stay-at-home mom or housewife doesn't make it any easier. That is just as difficult, if not even more difficult, than going to a 9 to 5 and still having those things to deal with. Okay, one, you get kind of a break from it all during an 8 hour, 9 hour period of the day. The other, you're just dealing with it all day. And so they both have their pros and cons. There's no one that's better than the other. It's just how you deal with it and how you're able to manage it. But back to the video about Beyonce and what she said, it's important to definitely have a life, your own identity, know what you want, what you don't want, what you like, dislike, what you're going to tolerate, not tolerate, have boundaries, and all of those important emotional guidelines in order to protect yourself. The society, again, that we live in, the divorce rate is really high. I'm not saying to go into marriage with that in mind, but don't totally ignore it, because anything is always possible. Not only divorce, but death. You know, if you were to lose your spouse for any reason at all, you don't want your whole identity to be tied up in that person. You don't want your whole identity to be tied up in children, because children grow up as well. So I think that what Beyonce said was very short and to the point, but very poignant, because again, a lot of women are just taught to be a wife, look for a husband, get a husband. And, you know, sometimes that's not the end all be all, because if you're looking for a person, once again, to fulfill all of your needs, whether it be financial, spiritual, emotional, psychological, all of those things, you're going to be highly disappointed. You'll be highly disappointed if that person just decides one day they don't want to be with you anymore or be any of those things to you anymore. Or you'll be very disappointed if that person isn't capable of being those things to you. And third, it's not anyone else's responsibility to fulfill you whatsoever. Only to add, only to be an addition, only to be a complement, you know, to add to your life. But that's what I wanted to say about that situation, ladies. Have your own identity before marriage. Marriage is not for the weak. I have been married twice. This is my second marriage. They both are extremely different from each other. They both have, you know, things that are, you know, very great. And then there are things that need improvement. And that's in every relationship, whether it's a marriage or just any type of relationship. There's always room for improvement. However, it's important to know who you are. Know what you want. Know what you stand for. Know what you're willing to accept. It's important to be healthy first so you can recognize and identify what is unhealthy. I want to thank you all for listening, and I hope you be blessed. I look forward to hearing your questions, comments, and concerns.